Hi, today we're going to be making some snowbanks and some snow scatter terrain for Frostgrave or D&D. So to start with, we're going to cut some oval shapes out of some foam core and bevel the edges. Beveling will help later when we add the sculptor mould to make it appear more natural. Then to add some height, we're going to take some offcuts, trim them down, and then glue them on top. And as always, watch out for glue strings. Then, grabbing a piece of balsa wood, we're going to trim it down and bevel the edges. Make it into a log shape. It's going to be a fallen tree. It's being covered with snow. Add a bit more flavour to the snowbanks. I'm just going to nip a bit of the tip off to make it look a bit more natural. Leave a bit of the fibrous nature in. Then, cutting the other end at a slant, we're going to glue that to the base. Then, once that's done, you can reward yourself with a pint of tea. Well done. It's always worth keeping your offcuts. I use this one to make another tree trunk. Then, grabbing some toilet paper, we're going to dip that in some watered down PVA, about 1:1 part. Then we're going to use that to clad the outside of the log. And this is going to have the appearance of bark. You can go as thin or as thick as you like on this part. A lot of it's going to be covered by snow effects, so just do whatever feels right for you. You just want to use this to add a bit of texture to the outside. I'm using this to sculpt the base to look a bit like some roots coming off the base of the trunk. And then we're going to paint them using a watered down brown and black paint. You want to make sure it's completely dry at this point. I jumped the gun and lost a bit of the texture off the top of the log. Then we're going to mix up some sculptor mod. And use this to coat the bases. A nice lumpy, uneven coat. Once you put it all down, you can generally shape it with your fingers a bit, smooth it out a little, and then grabbing some full strength PVA, we're just going to paint the entire piece. Then we've got some Woodland Scenics Soft Flake Snow, and we're going to give it a good dusting. You want to make sure you get the entire piece, every nook and cranny. Then, for where we have a piece sticking out of the snow, we want to coat the top side with PVA, so we can replicate the effect of natural snowfall. Now, here's where I got my hand on some large glass chunks, which look a lot like ice, so that's what they're going to become. Kind of large icy boulder type things. And just going to glue them onto the plain bases. Then putting a health coated PVA on top of the ice and the log, and then hitting everything with the snow flock. Now, the top layer didn't turn out so well, being on a darker base coat, so I mix up some of the flock with a small amount of PVA. I'm going to mix that into a paste, and then I'm going to use that to spread on top of the log so I can get a properly thick layer of snow on top. Now you want to be a little careful here, because if you add too much PVA it'll be too runny and go down the sides, but if you don't add enough then it'll be very hard to get off the tool and it will hold whatever shape you mould it into, which often doesn't look very natural. but if you make a mistake you can always go back and add more. Then adding a thick layer on top of the ice as well. So you can just see about the thickness of which I put it on top. Then, once you've shaken off the excess block, mix up a very watered down PVA water mixture, about 1 part PVA to 5 parts water, and just gently dab that on the bases so the capillary action soaks through and attaches all the loose block to the base. And once that's dried, you should have a fairly stable piece of terrain. It's really good for D&D. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.